In the Memphis Sports and Event Center for the Memphis Hound Dogs. They welcome in the Iowa Woo, and it's an expansion team versus one of the teams that's been around for both years of the Arena League. Welcome in, and we're glad to have you tonight. I'm Jeff Bryant alongside my broadcast partner, Matt Infield. Exciting time tonight, Matt. Both teams looking to get back on the winning track. Only 8 games in the Arena season, so you don't want to fall to 0-2.
Absolutely. Both these teams coming in 0-1 tonight. Iowa at home last week against a Monroe team that looks really good so far. Put up a bunch of points, 34 of them. The problem is they gave up 44. And we look at the quarterback we expect to start for them tonight, Vernon Sharp, who didn't play the entire game last week, came in the second half, did some good things for their offense, but again, couldn't get the stops they needed. The Woo outscored 12-0 in the fourth quarter, dropped them to 0-1 on the season. Like you said, this is an established team with players that know what to expect in this league. So they're coming to Memphis tonight against another team that started 0-1, smelling blood in the water.
Well, when you take a look at the Hound Dogs tonight, quarterback play very important. Kevin Taylor really rushed last week. Didn't really get to see what he could do overall because he just didn't have a lot of time.
Absolutely. Kevin Taylor last week just under duress, and you could tell from the first drive of the game the Hound Dogs went 3 and out because he didn't have any time to throw the ball. Now, obviously, maybe he could have played a little bit better himself, but he didn't have time. He didn't have receivers that were open. We know this Hound Dogs coaching staff is very excited about some additions they have this week, maybe play a little bit faster, a little bit lighter when they played a bunch of tight ends last week. So it's a home crowd, the first time in front of the fans here in the 901 at the Memphis Sports and Event Center. You know they want to make a great first impression tonight.
Going to be a good one tonight. It's the Iowa Woo, the Memphis Hound Dogs here in the Bluff City. We'll take a look at the starting lineups. We'll get ready to throw things off in the season opener, the home opener for the Hound Dogs, when we come back to Memphis in just a moment. Well, the first time for these Memphis Hound Dog fans to see their team live. They watched them last week on the road in Nebraska, but Memphis trying to get to 1-1. So are the Iowa Woo, who lost at home. We're ready to throw things off, and in the Arena League, it is a throw-off, not a kickoff. Ball's got to travel 40 yards, and it is a live ball. No fair catches, and it'll be Briggs to bring it up for the Hound Dogs. He'll get slammed down first across the 10. He'll be about the 12, 13-yard line to think. That's a mistake they made last week. A lot of players new to the Arena League, Matt. A safety from Memphis, if you receive the ball, you either got to make forward progress or take an immediate knee.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it. This Memphis squad, just a lot of players and coaches for that matter with not a ton of experience playing in this type of league. They learned from their mistakes last week, expect them to be corrected tonight.
So they'll put Tony Bell, a new addition to the staff this week. Was that running back? He'll kick out in the slot, and that will be Kevin Taylor, the quarterback. Quick pass out to the right side, picked up, and that is Gray with some room just across midfield or right at midfield as he gets slammed into the wall. Now the rule on the wall in the Arena League, if you hit the wall, it's still live as long as you are making forward progress.
Correct, and there is a little bit of referee discretion in there, so it's kind of like ball strikes in baseball, but yes, it is very much part of the game.
So Kevin Taylor Hand off to Briggs, and he'll be caught right up the middle. Quick tackle there, getting in quickly that time for Iowa, and that looked like that was Bell on the run, and Frankie Solomon Jr. came in and stuck him.
But something I noticed on that first play, Jeff, that Memphis did almost none of last week, vertical motion and regular horizontal motion in one play because they didn't have the manpower for it last week.
They got Bell offset. Man in motion that time vertically was Gray. Taylor with some time to look over, and I'll get it to the big man, Carmonte Hamilton, the former Memphis lineman. Originally went to Ohio State and had the great one-hand grab a week ago down to the 15.
Carmonte Hamilton, as people around here know, was a star tight end at high school at Whitehaven, became a defensive lineman in college, but he's still got the chops.
So Taylor out of Senatobia, the handoff up the middle. There's room to the 5, close to the 5, stopped about the 7. That was Briggs again, one of the newcomers here for the team, at least dressing out this week.
Nice job by Taylor to stay in the running lane. You have to stay in the running lane until you pass the line of scrimmage. And that's more running room than he had basically all last week.
They'll move Tony Bell out to the right. Taylor tries to go up the middle. Nothing there between the hatches. The rule in the Arena League, the quarterback must get between the hatches to the line of scrimmage. Then they can go anywhere on the field. But the quarterback cannot advance on the run outside the hash marks.
Kind of a mixed bag so far. Overall, I would say the protection from the Hound Dogs has been better than what we saw last week. But Taylor taking the sack there, big fella, but you want to keep him upright and definitely not taking those hits all night long.
So sitting just inside the 10. Again, 20-second play clock. Quick toss out to the left side and tripped up across the 10. Gain of 1 or 2 on the left for Memphis. So Memphis, and this is where it gets a little tough, Matt, in the arena game. You get inside the 10, things really shrink up here.
100%. You got to get creative with your play calling. And remember, on 4th down, you don't have a field goal to kick. So you have 2 downs to play with because you're not going to what's called surrender down here this deep. But and there's a penalty on the defense, which will help Memphis out. Did not see what the call was.
Got into the neutral zone.
So they'll replay the down, 2nd down once again, and it gets them that much closer. So instead of, a 3rd and goal from the 9 or the 8, now you got 2nd and goal from the 4, which is a lot easier.
So Bell in the backfield with Taylor. Taylor takes a look, trying to get out of trouble. He dumps it off, right through the hands. And again, that's the one ineligible receiver. But first option there was Malik Williams, and he is the only uneligible receiver. Your center cannot run the ball, cannot catch the ball. Everyone else can be an eligible receiver.
Right, essentially your left tackle, your right tackle are basically tight ends. They can stay in, they can block, but they can also go out on the route. But the center can't do anything, so that's basically a throwaway.
3rd down.
Which is better than a sack.
There's a snap. Taylor looking over the middle. Touchdown, and the Hound Dogs are going to get on the board quickly here on the very first possession, and they found Donald Gray for the touchdown.
Jeff, we were at practice this week. To say there was excitement about Donald Gray being added to this team would be a massive understatement. 3-year player at Mississippi State, team captain of the Bulldogs, highly productive player at Starkville, and he makes a very early impression for Memphis tonight.
They're going to go from the 5, so this must be
a throw.
Throw at this point. They've got a 1 and a 2-point conversion. Quickly looking, he took it back from the 5, and there goes the flag. So a 1-point conversion must be a pass. A 2-point conversion, you do have the option to run, but then the quarterback rule applies between the hash marks. And that's just the illegal procedure there and the illegal play. Let's take a look at this touchdown here.
Taylor's got time. I mean, that is more time than he had basically all last week. And Gray is someone that's going to know how to manipulate these zones, and he found the soft spot in it. Well, the first Hound Dogs touchdown here in Memphis.
So a 6-0 Hound Dog lead as the Hound Dogs will get ready to throw things off. Memphis got out to a pretty good start last week at Nebraska, Matt, but you could tell in the second half, and we'll see how it plays out tonight, fatigue really hit, and I think the speed of the game hit. We talked about the personnel changes. Also, head coaching change this week as you take a look at Victor Mann, the head coach for the Iowa Woo. And Victor Mann's had a really nice history in the indoor game, originally a running back out of Kansas State back in 2005. But Memphis makes the change. Robert Redmond in his first game, the new head coach. Also, congratulations, celebrating his 17th anniversary with his wife, Erin. So, hey, about an anniversary present, come watch the Hound Dogs.
And hopefully get a win. Robert Redmond, someone who has a lot of experience in the high school game here in Memphis. Also, he said, funny enough, used to coach another indoor football team down in Tupelo called the Mississippi Hound Dogs, the birthplace of Elvis Presley before he relocated to Memphis. So, yeah, he said that he felt like last week the conditioning just wasn't really there, so that was a big focus this week. And obviously, a lot of big guys playing last week. They should have a better time with some lighter players tonight.
So the Hound Dogs getting ready to throw off. The deep man right now for the Iowa, it looks like Otis Odom to receive it. And again, if you receive it, you've got to either take an immediate knee or you've got to make some sort of forward progress. Last week on the safety, Memphis had it in the end zone but took a step backwards. The tackle was made, and there went the safety.
Which, again, things that are to be expected. When you are, it's football, yes, but it is a very different brand of football compared to what these guys have been playing their entire lives. So, again, you work the kinks out, get used to the rules, like the throw-off right here.
Willis with the throw for Memphis. Here comes Odom. Odom had a bit of a seam, but he is going to be tripped up quickly. Oh, and that is Hasler. And we've got a flag way behind the play on the Hound Dogs 3-yard line. Someone may have taken off a little too soon and broke the plane before the throw by Willis. So they'll walk it off and get an extra 5 yards for where the Iowa Woo will take over. They're 0-1. They lost 44-34 to Monroe. They'll be hosting St. Joe next week.
Good coverage on that throw-off there because, remember, Memphis did give up a kick or throw-off return touchdown last week. So special teams errors will drive coaches crazy. I'm sure that was a focus this week.
Vernon Sharp, the quarterback. Man in motion. Bit of a high snap, makes the adjustment. Looking near side, kind of underthrew that when trying to throw it away. He was looking for Joshua Neal. So Neal coming across the field. He's out of Houston, Texas, and Langston University in NAIA school. That's the vertical game. Look, a lot of teams, including Memphis, they want to institute a little bit of a power game, but still, in the indoor game, it's going to be the vertical speed that's going to be the difference.
100%. When you are relatively confined like you are in this field, you need someone to stretch it out. There is an element of power, but you need speed. These leagues are made for speed.
So Sharp. Again, just a little bit high, quick outlet pass. Boards are live, but that'll be about 5 yards short of the first down. So Iowa goes with the game to the right side that time. Looks like they found Adrian Fox. Or check that, Kyvon Smith moving to the right side. Smith, he's been around. Nashville Cats, Topeka Tropics. Originally out of Fort Osage High School in Independence, Missouri. So a third and a long 5 for Iowa. Again, they go to the right side. Little bit of room. That's going to be a big first down to the Memphis 16-yard line.
And then there's the opposite of the vertical game. Get the ball out quick, get it in the hands of your playmakers, and let them do damage in the open field.
Vernon Sharp has a really good arm, compact throwing motion, accurate. Even when he gets in awkward spots, if he gets flushed out, he can get the ball away. There's movement immediately. Yep. I think that's Blake Bartz out of Independence, Iowa. He's also their backup quarterback this week. They had some personnel changes, so he'll be tackle tight end, also a backup QB.
A lot of players wearing a lot of different hats in this league.
Look, if you always beg your coach in college or high school, that let me catch the ball. Trust me, I can catch it. Well, you're going to get your chance in the Arena League. Sharp, 18-38. They had 169 yards in the air last week. And that one's snapped way too high. He's running for his life. He's going to have to throw this one away. And it's picked off on the right side by Ladarius Lee. Lee comes up huge again for the Hound Dogs. His third pick of the season.
There's a flag at midfield. We'll see if that's after the play. If it stands, Ladarius Lee, his third interception in 4+ quarters this season.
So the high snap, he got flushed.
Yeah, I get the idea there, but Sharp's got to throw that one away. Let's see what the call is.
I'm not sure if they were calling maybe a late hit on Blaylock. You kind of see it in the replay, one of the Memphis linemen, a hit. Now, I'm not sure who instituted the hit. It's going to be Iowa. It's going to be on the Woo.
And now Memphis really cooking with gas. You get the touchdown, you get the turnover on the first Iowa drive, and now you start inside the red zone on your second possession.
So let's see what the Hound Dogs bring out here. Taylor, and he's got Bell behind him. Toss to the left side to Bell. Bell slung down inside the 10, so a big chunk on first down.
Tony Bell, a two-time All-American linebacker at UT Martin. Again, wear a lot of different hats in this league, but clearly a dynamic athlete. They want to get him the ball a lot.
Linebackers, fullbacks, about the same body type, so he has made the adjustment really well. He's going to get it up the middle. He'll be hit down to about the 6. So he's going to be about a yard short of the first down. Be 3rd and 1 from the 6-yard line.
Do you go QB power here straight up the middle with Taylor for the 1 yard? We haven't seen much of it. He did have a little bit of running room on the first drive.
Well, you got a good one, Malik Williams right in front of you. Malik Williams, their center, 6'3", 325. He's going to look. Crossing pass, and the Hound Dogs go up by 2 possessions. And again, it's going to be Donald Gray. He was going to be the playmaker. What'd they tell us the other day? Kevin Taylor's got to find his threats. He's finding them.
Robert Rebbins, I think exact words to us the other day was he's going to be a stud. And so far, that has proved to be correct. Number 2 on the night for number 2 in his Hound Dogs debut.
So it's been Kevin Taylor to Gray twice. Drop back, quick strike, just thrown a little bit behind Keywan Malone, the Memphis Tiger alum that played back on that American Conference Championship team in 2014 and went to the Miami Beach Bowl.
Oh, he's pretty used to playing on this campus as we get a look at the touchdown to Gray. And yeah, I think that it's early, but feel pretty good about his chances of being one of the more productive receivers in this league so far.
So a quick 12-0 lead. Taylor already 6 for 7, 42 yards, and a couple of scores. Looks a lot more comfortable, Matt, as we talked about when we came on the air. A lot of that has to do with not only Malik Williams at center, you got Michael Stackins, Gramonte Hamilton will line up at tackle, tight end, Donald Gray up there. Even though he's the receiver, will sneak up there. A lot more protection this week.
I don't care what quarterback you're talking about. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. When they don't have time, it does not matter. And KT Taylor had 0 time to do anything last week. 9 of 23 completion percentage last week. Already 6 of 7 tonight. That should tell you something about the protection in front of him.
Memphis had a penalty on the kickoff. They'll have to make sure he gets that throwaway again. This time everyone stays on side. So Odom finds some room on the right side. He needs to make one move, and he does. To the 15, he's tackled forward to the 12, maybe got the 11, but another big return. We've seen improvement on the Memphis defense and offense, but special teams last week gave up 1, and that's a big chunk there for Iowa.
Odom, who played at Kentucky State and Reinhardt University, actually a running back in college. Any way you shake it out, dynamic with the ball in his hands, clearly.
So we're going to 12-0 lead for the Memphis Hound Dogs. They have scored on their first 2 offensive possessions. It's going to be the second offensive possession for the Woo, of Vernon Sharp at quarterback. But they've got Memphis, their backs against their own end zone. Up under, wrapped up down to the 9-yard line. Now you can have multiple men in motion in the league, but only one man can go vertically. And that time it was Joshua Neal coming across the center for the little handoff.
Now, and obviously, you got to get it synced up when you've got someone going vertically and horizontally, but if you can get it timed up right, that is really confusing for a defense.
So 2 to the near side, 1 up high. Sharp alone in the backfield. Outlet pass just in and out of the hands. They had the receiver there, but it just went in and out of Joshua Neal's hands. Nice coverage, but he did have Adrian Fox beat.
And Adrian Fox getting the crowd hyped up. They get a very intimate experience right next to the field. Jeff, we talked about how much pressure KT Taylor was under last week for Memphis. Right now, that's Vernon Sharp for Iowa.
Sharp has not had a lot of time to just hang out and look for open receivers. And he'll get flush to the left again. He's got to come back in, and I think he did make it between the hash marks and just shy of the end zone. And Memphis is contending that he did not get between the hashes at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, 2 flags, 3 flags, ton of laundry on the field, and a discussion about whether he broke the plane before the ball popped out and Memphis potentially recovered. I think that's a discussion between the referees right now. So a lot going on in that play.
Well, Memphis looks like it's going to go their way. And the Hound Dogs may have gotten the turnover.
I'll have to get a look at it.
Here we
I
go.
think I was saying that he was.
Ball came loose.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a matter of whether he broke the plane. But even if he broke the plane, if they say that he broke the line of scrimmage outside of the running lanes, it's all for naught anyways, although it would negate the turnover.
Jelani Willis did come up with the loose ball.
And there's a challenge flag from Iowa. You get 1 per half, and pretty good time for head coach Victor Mann to use it for the Woo.
If he can get that reverse, his team's right back into this ball game. If it stands, Memphis has a chance to go up 3 possessions. But they'll have to go the long way here as they'll be backed up inside their own 5. But a big defensive stop, even though Iowa did move the ball on the Hound Dogs at possession.
Try to get a look at the replay here. We're having a discussion with Victor Mann. So again, if the challenge is successful, the Woo would retain possession, but I think the penalty would back them up because he did not cross the line of scrimmage in the running lanes. That's really close. I don't know if we have a view down the line, which would probably. We got the replay official right next to us, and he's trying to get the best look he can. But unless there is a shot right down the line, I don't know if you could overturn this or not. It's close. It is really close for sure.
So right now it stands to be Memphis Hound Dog football if it is confirmed. And again, it's going to be beyond the shadow of a doubt if you're going to overturn a call. And right now it's going to be tough.
And if it is Hound Dog football, by the way, they're going to have it at like the half-yard line. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of room to operate.
Victor Mann using again that challenge. Again, played 11 games in 05 at Kansas State, 107 yards, a couple touchdowns. He's coached for the North Texas Bulls, won a championship there. Cedar Rapids River Dogs, Texas Revolution. He's been a 2-time champion and a 2-time coach of the year, trying to get his Woo in his second year to 1-1.
Also played under the legendary Bill Snyder at Kansas, so learned from a pretty good coach himself.
Well, looks like their final meeting. We should get the call here if it is confirmed or overturned. Right now, again, a 12-0 Hound Dog lead, scoring in the first 2 possessions. It is confirmed.
I think this is one of those, Jeff, where if it got called touchdown on the field, I think it would have stood. But because it was called a fumble, again, there wasn't a conclusive enough look either way to overturn that call.
So Willis is the one that jumped on it. Trying to see, I don't know if it's Jadarius Smith, when he stuck his hand out, hit his knee. Regardless, lost the football.
Regardless, a huge stand for Memphis. Like you said, instead of 12-6 or 12-8, 12-0, you got the ball. You can go up 3 possessions right here. And actually, they'll get the ball at the 5 because it was recovered in the end zone for a touchback.
Well, that's going to be a direct snap that time. Little wildcat for the Hound Dogs. They went right to Tony Bell.
But the flag's thrown. I wonder if he went because the snap went to him and he didn't cross the line of scrimmage in the running lane. And now Hound Dogs offense coordinator Dustin Bauman has some words to say. He's right there in the middle of the field.
Dustin Bauman's been around a lot of these players, currently at Houston. He's been at Whitehaven, Germantown. One thing about the coaching staff, whether it's Robert Redmond or Dustin Bauman or Eric Rollins, they coach in the high school ranks in Memphis, really helps them identify some talent locally that still wants to play.
And the penalty is going to be on Iowa. I guess it was an offsides penalty. So that helps out the Hound Dogs tremendously because you get the ball at the 10 instead of the 5.
It's their second penalty, and a week ago 6 penalties for 50 yards for the Iowa Woo. So here's Taylor. Gray goes in motion vertically. Has time. He's going to take off. They left the middle up open. It's Taylor to the right side. 15 to the 10. Keeps his footing. He may get pushed into the blue suede end zone. Hound Dogs think they have it.
Haven't seen an official yet.
Maybe just short. But great recognition by Kevin Taylor to see the middle open, wide up.
Wide open. Jeff, I think you could have gotten to the 10-yard line of that lane. Don't worry, I would have only gotten to the 15.
Just tons of room.
Now Hound Dogs cooking here.
Touchdown. And the Hound Dogs up 3 possessions, and they go to the big guy, Michael Stackens out of Selmer, Tennessee.
6'3", 285, and that is something that the Hound Dog staff said this week. We want our big guys to box out and post up in the red zone. Stackens, mission accomplished right there.
Stackens in the right place. I do not believe that was initially intended for him. It bounced off another Hound Dog player, but Stackens was right there. And Memphis yet to convert on an extra point this season. Tried to find Hamilton off of his hand and knocked away. Looked like that was Bartz that knocked it away down at the goal line. But an 18-0 Memphis lead. They couldn't have scripted it much better to open it up in front of the home crowd.
If you want to get the fans in this city on your side right away, put on a show, and the Hound Dogs did exactly that in the first 15 minutes.
I think one of the good things, Memphis has built a Memphis team here with Memphis players and Memphis coaches. We're through 1 quarter of play, and it's 18-0 Hound Dogs. Matt Enfield takes you to the second and the third when we come back. I've got crabby eyes, and if you need to grab these and adjust them, it's a little on far end.
Good stuff. Top of the Iowa Woo, 18-0, second quarter, just about to get underway. Matt Enfield alongside my partner, Jeff Brightwell. Jeff, that first quarter could not have gone much better for Memphis.
Well, after Kevin Taylor went 9 of 23, he is 3 for 3 on possessions, going to Gray twice and Stackens once.
Willis to throw off, caught in the end zone by Odom, and he is bottled up inside the 5. Great coverage that time by Memphis. Credit the tackle to Tony Bell, the starting running back in this game, and we talked about all the hats the players will wear Great special teams coverage by RB1.
Well, a lot of times when we research these players, and I ask you before the game, was that the linebacker at Tennessee Martin? Just to confirm, you saw why he's a two-time All-American there with the big stick.
So the Woo offense back on the field, came about half a yard shy of scoring their first touchdown on their last drive before a fumble by the quarterback, Vernon Sharp, at the goal line. They'll try to get on the board for the first time. Sharp under duress, gets away, throws it downfield. It is caught up against the boards and slammed in. Catch made that time by Joshua Neal, the Houston native. Believe that's his second catch of the game. And a big hitter for the Woo. The game about 20. And they're out near midfield on the first play of the drive.
Good throw by Sharp. He's getting a lot of pressure that time from Cameron Blaylock. Nose guard for the Hound Dogs.
Orbit motion that time. And that was close to it offsides. Sharp with time, going for it all, and that's over the head of his receiver. I think he was trying to dial up. Neal once again, incomplete. Second down on the way.
Well, either wrong route or wrong read that time, but sailed it well over his head into the back of the end zone. So Memphis continuing to create a few issues for Iowa, and right now it's Vernon Sharp. He's got experience, but still looks a little uncomfortable, not getting a ton of protection early on.
Sharp throwing 2 touchdowns last week in the second half after not starting the game. Vertical motion from the right side. Sharp, flustered. Now he's got some room to run. Now the question is, was he inside the running lane past the line of scrimmage? And I think they're saying he was. If he was, it was just barely. It'll be a pickup of about, let's call it 6. And third down, about 4 on the way for Iowa.
Memphis stunted from the left side. That's where the pressure came. So he just took a step to his right and saw a big open seam.
The 3rd and 4. Neal flank to his left. Vertical motion. Sharp, quick throw, caught. And hanging on for dear life, but breaking away. And that should be enough for the first down that time.
Well, the one thing that did not allow him to break away, Jadarius Smith got his hand around his leg and would not let go. And it looks like we'll get a Hound Dog down on the field.
Yeah, try to get a look at who that is right now.
Well, down on the field, looks like Adrian Fox. Yep.
And they're looking at his leg, it would appear, and there's a good amount of concern around the Overton High School grad from right here in Memphis, but Fox had a good deal of pain.
Well, one of their speed players with the Lane College also ran track and field, as you mentioned, an Overton Wolverine, 6'2", 190-pounder, really cerebral player. When you've watched practice, you've seen him talk to the coaching staff, does a really nice job of how to break plays down, how to recognize coverages, can cover the backside, can do a lot of things for this team.
And someone that can be their emergency quarterback in a pinch as well. But Fox down on the field, and this is a Hound Dogs team that's dealt with some injuries already early on, and unfortunately looks like another one here. So this is Fox going to come in at the end. His right leg got bent up on the tackle pretty awkwardly there.
Well,
that was Leslie Owusu who made that catch and then delivered the blow to Fox, who now has his helmet off.
Well, we have a minute here, and unfortunately we have a little time here with the injury. We talk about the home debut of the Memphis Hound Dogs here at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. One thing I like that the league did, and the Hound Dogs, they went, I think, to the right sides arena for a first season. As you look across the crowd here, nice debut crowd for the Hound Dogs. The bulk of the stands on the home side, as you see right there. Good reception, as you mentioned earlier, makes it intimate on top of the action. They do a nice job of offering just your regular tickets, VIP tickets. You can sit right up next to the action. And look, just like other indoor leagues, you get a football, it's yours.
Yes, you are not supposed to ask for a football back. Player, coach, official. If it's a souvenir, it's a souvenir, just like at a baseball game. And Fox now hopping off the field, not putting much weight on that right leg, but good to see him up and moving. So they'll get him checked out. It was a first down for Iowa on the catch by Owusu, the Cedar Rapids, Iowa native. And they're inside the red zone. 1st and 10 at the Memphis 15. 2 players in motion that time, and Sharp botched the snap, and he falls on top of it to avoid another turnover.
Looks like he got tied up with Joshua Neal. I don't know if that was so much on the snap or the handoff, but still. game number 2, and you want to work those kinks out here by game number 2. Again, only an 8-game season, so you don't have a lot of time to kind of ease into the season.
A couple of snap operations going against Iowa early. Remember the interception when Sharp had to retrieve the errant snap over his head. I think we're going to get a false start on the Woo right here. So a couple of negative plays back-to-back just when they were threatening. And just like that, you go from 1st and 10 at the 15, really threatening, to 1st and 20 at midfield.
You got to get all the way down to the Hound Dog 5-yard line now to get that first down. Again, they had 6 penalties for 50 yards. Doesn't sound like a lot if your frame of mind is 11-man, 100-yard field, but
Correct.
It's cut in half. That's basically, do the math, 100 yards in an 11-man game.
Sharp takes a snap, under pressure right away, throws it left side, and going fly over the wall that time. And a penalty flag in the backfield as well, as a helmet came off in the backfield. It's going to look at who the player was that went fly over the wall. And again, worth pointing out, if you catch the ball over the wall, you do not need any feet in bounds. Well, this is going to be a personal foul, a hit to the head against Memphis, and that's going to give Iowa a first down.
I believe that was a Wusu that went over. Yeah, got his hand up there and just pushed him on over.
And then the personal foul on a late hit in the backfield. And that's going to move the ball to the 10-yard line. And I believe that should be an automatic first down as well. So a killer penalty by the Hound Dogs that time. After the Woo had a couple of negative plays in a row to really back them up. They're inside the red zone once again. 3 Memphis touchdowns in the first quarter, 2 by Donald Gray, 1 by Michael Stackins. Iowa looking for their first. Sharp rolling out, under pressure. Can't run it there. Cross-body throw, caught, touchdown.
Really nice play there. Found Joshua Neal in the corner. That's where you have experience. If you're an indoor and arena quarterback, he knows he can't cross the line of scrimmage, went right up to it, went all the way across the field.
Although I will say Sharp broke about every cardinal rule of quarterbacking there, throwing it late across the middle, across your body, but he had a wide open Neal at the front of the end zone. And the Woo are on the board for the first time tonight. They will go for 2 from the 10-yard line, which means the quarterback run is in play on this conversion. Throw out to the flat, and that is off the hands of his receiver. 2-point conversion, no good. It is an 18-6 game.
He's looking for Joshua Neal again. He got the touchdown, looking for the extra. I like the thought on here, Matt. You're going to set it up. Well, there's the touchdown again, going cross-field, man standing wide open. Neal over there in the corner of the end zone. Open end zones here in Memphis while they wait on their permanent field. Both teams agreed to it. They're fine with it. The rule is, by the way, tonight, college rule, 1 foot in if it's a play in the end zone.
Joshua Neal getting peppered with targets from Vernon Sharp early in this game. 5'9", played at North American University and Langston University, native of Houston. He actually won a championship in a different arena league last year. Got twin brother named Jerime, who he has played with in different arena leagues so far.
46 yards, 8 plays on that drive, so they really put it together nicely that time. Now Iowa's got a little bit of momentum.
And the throw off, handled by Briggs. Tries to break away, but he is dumped at the 7-yard line. So the Hound Dogs going to have to go 43 yards, if they want to find the end zone.
Well, they put together 2 pretty good drives, and they had the long drive. That's the one where KT got it to Stackins. They went deep after the fumble recovery. So they've made one of these 45-yard drives already.
And Jeff, I believe we have a new quarterback for Memphis. This is Sky Forrest, who won a high school state championship at Lausanne back in 2017, and he is sacked inside the 2 on his first play.
A little bit of time up at Lane College for Sky Forrest. 7 games there, 15 to 29, 155 yards. It's a good thing about these leagues, like the Arena League, you'll have guys coming out of high school. You may have a veteran receiver out there at times. It's a good mix, so they don't have a lot of time to really get mixed in.
So a toss out to the left side, and picking up some yards that time was Tony Bell. He's out to about the 8 and 3rd down coming up.
Well, we talked about earlier looking like Tony Bell looks like a linebacker. Sky Forest, first time I saw him live, I asked, are y'all running a Wildcat? And they that's Sky Forest. That's his size. He looks like a linebacker.
3rd down, slant caught. That's Gray breaking away. Donald Gray still on his feet. A hound of Iowa Woo players trying to take him down, and they finally do at the 15.
You know, Gray secures the ball, makes the move, and then just puts his head down, and as you mentioned, drags a lot of the Woo down there.
So a 1st down inside the Iowa 15 at Sky Forest. Completion has Memphis in business, but things not on sync on that drive, or on that play, excuse me. False start. We'll back the Hound Dogs up 5 yards.
Yeah, it's Staggins to the right. You got Malik Williams, the center. So someone moved up on the front of the line. You got to have 3 on the line of scrimmage in the Arena League. Same thing with defense, but only the center and the nose guard have to stay within that line of scrimmage once the play begins.
So 1st and 15 coming up from the Iowa 20. Man in motion at the snap is Malone. Forrest rolling out to his right. Looking for Malone. Had some room. Penalty flag comes down. We'll see if that's going to be defensive holding. I believe so. Malone had his man beat.
Mod Butler was the cover man that time.
Trying to hang with him, and there's a Woo player down near midfield as well.
It's not always the worst penalty you take. I believe that's Frankie Solomon Jr. down. But, look, he's going to burn you for the touchdown. Just take the penalty.
So the concern right now with Solomon, the native of Dallas, as he'll get up to his feet with a limp and go off to the sideline.
Solomon, you mentioned, out of Dallas, spent some time at University of New Mexico after graduating from South Oak Cliff High School in that Dallas area.
There's still a discussion of what the penalty is. It looked pretty clear like it was defensive holding.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I initially thought going across the middle, is it would be a hold.
Forrest, that's a heck of a throw, too, rolling out.
So the flag comes down by the back judge right in the middle, so I still think there was a hold maybe right where we saw it to impede his progress.
And we'll get the ruling from the referee, and it is defensive holding. Penalty decline, and there's also a personal foul blow to the head on Iowa. So that will be a 15-yard penalty. That'll move Memphis inside the 5-yard line.
Now, Memphis incurred a pretty big defensive penalty when Iowa scored. Now Iowa gets a big defensive penalty and a golden opportunity here for the Hound Dogs, leading 18-6 right now to go back up by 3 possessions. Had an 18-0 lead at one point.
Jeff, you mentioned Sky Forest spent some time playing football at Lane College, about an hour away from here. He also played 2 games for their basketball team. So 6'5", 235, big guy, very athletic. Back under center, takes a snap, blitz coming. Forrest evades it, lofts it. Cormante Hamilton tried running before he made the catch, incomplete.
Well, had it into the 5, tried to turn to his left, just lost the football. As you mentioned, I think he was thinking end zone before he secured the football. Look, this is a guy that came out of Memphis, originally signed with Ohio State, played, never really got a shot there. Came to Memphis, they used him on the line, never got a chance really to be a tight end at the University of Memphis, although he had a great career, but second opportunity here, you go to the coach. And again, we've talked about the staff for Memphis in the high school ranks. They've seen him in high school. They know he's got the hands.
Timeout called by Iowa. It'll be their second charge timeout of the half after they lost their challenge back in the first quarter. Cormante Hamilton, also a strong contender for the play of the year in the Arena League after 1 week. And Odell Beckham Jr.-esque one-handed catch crashing into the boards for a touchdown at Nebraska last week. It was late in the game, and Memphis was out of it at that point, but certainly one you'll be seeing on the highlight reel for the rest of the season.
He put a lot of hurt on that wall as well. I got to talk to him earlier this week. Asked him, how were you? He said a little stiff. He got up a little gingerly from that one, but still held on and made a really nice grab.
So after the timeout, the 2nd and goal from the 10. Forrest, the quarterback. Flight to his left by Bell. Forrest to the end zone. Malone has his touchdown this time. The former Tiger on the board for the first time this year, and the Hound Dogs extend the lead.
Kewan Malone, as you mentioned, played for the Tigers from 2011 to 14, 125 catches, nearly 1,500 yards, part of the Miami Beach Bowl team. But Memphians know him out of Mitchell High School, where he's a 2-time All-State performer.
Malone played his collegiate ball about 200 yards away at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and here tonight at the Memphis Sports and Event Center has his first touchdown as a Hound Dog. Memphis will go for 2 from the 10-yard line. Forrest spins out of pressure. Lost it back in the end zone, and a little bit too tall that time for Bakeria Johnson, who had a couple touchdowns in the loss last week. So Memphis goes up 24-6.
3 of 4, 41 yards on that drive for Forrest, so we see for the first time really settle in at quarterback.
Memphis already 22 points tonight, surpassing their total last week of 18 for the entire game at Nebraska. And Jeff, his coaching staff talked all week about how these new additions, guys like Gray and Malone, would make life much easier for them, the quarterbacks, everyone involved. And so far, that has absolutely been true.
It's been night and day from last week. The only thing Memphis has not gotten so far in the game in nearly a half is that extra point yet. So they sit at 24-6 right now. And they've gone, except for once, they've gone for the 1-point conversion. That's a tight box in any arena, any indoor football, to try to get an extra point, especially when you're trying that 1 point and they take away your run possibility from the quarterback.
So Willis had been doing the throw-offs for Memphis. This time it'll be Johnson, the wide receiver. He'll be caught by Odom inside the 10. He's got a little bit of space, but a great tackle by the aforementioned Willis, or at least slowed him up. And here comes a gang of Hound Dogs slamming Odom into that padding, which comes off. They'll get that adjusted. But after Memphis gave up a kick return touchdown last week, Odom had one big return earlier, but other than that, they've been pretty buttoned up in that regard.
Giovanni Willis made the initial hit and then tried to rip the ball out of his hands while he waited for his teammates. One thing in the indoor game, too, you have all kind of schemes on kickoffs and returns on the 100-yard field, the traditional game. You don't really need a big scheme in the indoor. Just tackle the guy.
We have reached the 2-minute warning here in the first half in Memphis. It has been all Hound Dogs so far. We got the rest of the quarter coming up in just a moment. 24-6, Hound Dogs on top with 2 minutes left in the second quarter here from Memphis. Ball side, Jeff Brightwell. I'm Matt Infield. The Woo trying to eat into this lead a little bit in the final 2 minutes of the half. Vernon Sharp takes the snap under pressure as he has been a lot of the half. Escapes. Still another man to beat, and he's walloped inside the 7-yard line. Ball came out. It's just a matter of whether Sharp was down or not. He got absolutely smoked, and Ethan Hassler, the Collierville native, comes away with it, and the signal is Hound Dog football.
Hassler with an interception a week ago. He just took it out of the guy's hand, basically did the same thing after he got stuck around the 10-yard line. And the Hound Dog defense comes up with yet another turnover this season. Sharp has labored this game, just 5 for 10, 48 yards. Not getting a lot of time. They try to make something out of not a little bit, end up giving the ball back to the Hound Dogs.
Now, inside 2 minutes, I believe they will take a look at the replay to see if Sharp was down. Just try to do too much, and then Hassler chased him down from behind.
It's either Blaylock or maybe Stackins got in on some defense to hold him up right there. Now it's Kimbrough.
And then Hassler, I think he got that ball clean before Sharp was down. Right there in his left arm. That should be
confirmed.
What an absolutely huge hit and an absolutely clean fumble recovery by Ethan Hassler as well.
If it's confirmed, they got a golden opportunity to go up 30-6.
And we'll get confirmation here, I believe, from the referees. It is Hound Dog football inside the Iowa 10. Hassler with the fumble forced and recovery, and a chance for Memphis to really stretch this out in the final 2 minutes of the first half.
Interception and a fumble already for the Woo.
Forrest back in there after the touchdown drive last time. Cross the middle, a little bit too high for his intended receiver. Guess who? Donald Gray. But Forrest, a little bit too tall on that one. Second down coming up for Memphis.
Well, Gray's been a really nice addition tonight. Couple of touchdowns, scored the first 2. Again, 34 games, nearly 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns for Mississippi State.
2 touchdowns for Gray, 1 for Kewan Malone, 1 for the big fella, Michael Stackins. 24-6 Memphis, Hound Dogs threatening for more. Free runner right up the middle and buried that time is Forrest.
Well, it came around the right side of Stackins for the initial contact. Then just got his help. But smart play by Taylor. Look, sometimes it's not there. You just got to eat the sack. Don't want to give it right back on an errant pass and turn it right back over to the Woo.
And Iowa, I believe, will call their final timeout of the first half. Try potentially preserve some time and put a drive together.
So we've seen offensively for Iowa a couple of spurts here to make something happen. But 7 penalties in the first half and 2 turnovers has really hurt the Woo here in the first half.
After they had just 6 penalties the entire game last week, which, like we talked about, in this version of football is a lot. 7 in the first half. You just shoot yourself in the foot over and over again. And I think we saw even on that play right there, Sky Forrest not trying to do too much, where Vernon Sharp has gotten himself in trouble, maybe forcing plays that weren't there. So 3rd and goal from the 17 for Memphis. Is Bell alongside Forrest in the backfield. Toss to him. Bell, a little bit of running room. Right side, and he's tripped up at the 12. So now an interesting decision for Memphis. Well, I don't really think there's a decision. You either go for it on 4th and goal from the 12, or you surrender and give Iowa the ball at the 5. And I think that's a pretty easy call for head coach Robert Redmond.
Obviously, no kicking, no punting, no field goals. So the surrender rule, if you're in your own half of the field, a lot of time, surrender it. But here, you just go for it on 4th down.
We'll see what Dustin Bauman has for this play call. Got to go deep in the bag of tricks. Gray in motion. Forrest, a little bit of time. Throw it to the end zone. It is caught! Donald Gray, the hat trick. And that one, the most sensational of them all. He's got that dog in him. Touchdown, Memphis.
Or else with the Arena League, can you catch the ball, slide right into your fans, and they love it.
Donald Gray going to the penthouse for his third score of the night. And on 4th and goal from the 12, the Hound Dogs find the end zone for the 5th time in this first half.
Well, had time to his right, and he saw Gray, and Gray had his hands up. Just get it to where I can elevate.
Now Memphis will go for 2 from the 10 once again, trying to extend this 36 lead. Fade ball, end zone, Malone almost had the one-handed grab. Falls incomplete. Good coverage that time by Iowa, but not before the 3rd touchdown catch of this first half for the former Mississippi State Bulldog, Donald Gray. And Jeff, also credit, Sky Forrest had a little bit of pressure that time, kept his composure, and found his man.
Just look, not only is he getting some more protection overall tonight, he just looks more comfortable. They thought the game came at him pretty fast. They wanted to watch the blitz. They wanted to stay on the outside early in this game, and they did to Gray. And again, they told him, find the playmakers, just adjust to the speed of the game.
And Jeff, if you haven't figured out, I mean, this isn't really expert analysis here, but when you have Donald Gray and Keewan Malone, it makes life for the quarterback much easier as well.
Well, that's 2 guys that were not on the active roster a week ago on the 18-man game day roster. So they talked about, we've got some weapons available this week that we're just getting over a few things.
Forrest leading touchdown drives, both possessions. He has been at the helm here in the second quarter, and that ball on the throw-off hits the roof.
Low ceiling at the Memphis Sports and Event Center. That's a dead ball in Arena League, as you will see, some smaller canopies on the roofs of the arenas. If it hits it, it's a dead ball. There's some sports that will play live ball off beams, but it is a dead ball, and they will likely make them rethrow the ball, or they may just give it to them at the 10.
Kind of reminds me of my days before I got into TV. I was an intern with the Tampa Bay Rays at the Tropicana Field in Tampa Bay, and few batted balls that would go off the rings there at the Trop. So we'll see what the rule is. And it will be a penalty on Memphis. I believe the Woo will get the ball at the Hound Dogs 20. That's where it's being spotted right now. So again, you have to get the throw off to at least the 10-yard line, or that's a penalty in itself. So it was Johnson trying to get as much mustard as he could. And we have a new quarterback for the Woo. This is going to be Blake Barnes, who was playing a little tight end earlier. Their second straight quarterback, and I believe that's got to be the receiver was offsides on the vertical motion that time, and that will back Iowa up to midfield.
Well, the guy, who's Joshua Neal, a little bit too far ahead. That's one of those plays, Matt. He was so far ahead, you're doing a double take, but he was 5 yards past the line of scrimmage for the ball is snapped.
The timing not quite synced up there for the Woo. It'll set up a 1st and 15.
So Bart's out of Independence, Iowa. Waldorf, an NAIA school, originally out of Cedar Rapids, played with the River Kings and the Iowa Power.
Bart's also caught a touchdown last week, and like we talked about, guys are going to play a lot of different positions in this league. He is called on to play quarterback and immediately dumped for a sack. Ethan Hatzler, who had the huge hit fumble recovery before, gets in the sack department tonight.
Well, trying to read it up the middle, you'll see, had just a little bit of time, and he immediately took off, and Hatzler read that all the way. Right now, I was just looking for any kind of momentum here going into the locker room.
Also out of timeouts. They burned 2 and lost 1 on a challenge. So 2nd and long coming up. Vertical motion from the right side. Bart's throwing up, going long. It's got a man, and that pass broken up in the end zone. And that will be the final play of the first half, and the first half of the Arena League in Memphis, dominated by the Hound Dogs. 5 touchdowns for Memphis. They go to the locker room with a 30-6 advantage in front of the hometown fans. Jeff and I are going to take a little break, come back, recap the first half, look some highlights, and get you ready for the second half here from Memphis. Hound Dogs on top, 30-6. Back in Memphis, where the Hound Dogs are on top of the Iowa Woo, 30-6 at the half. And Jeff, the Arena League is all about highlights and action. And through the first half, we have had plenty of that so far at the Memphis Sports and Event Center. The Hound Dogs finding the end zone 5 times in the first half. 3 of those from the Mississippi State man, Donald Gray. A couple of defensive highlights as well. Just really an all-around entertaining product in that first half.
Memphis has created 5 turnovers in their first 6 quarters of the Arena League football so far this year. And then last week, struggling offensively. They did really well today, and they got it started. First 3 possessions, there's your first from Gray, from Kevin Taylor, and, of course, flip it to a fan. The football is yours. Now, Iowa, they had some issues with some high snaps early, and this cost them the interception. And, again, it is Lee. Lee picks up his 3rd of the season. He had a pair last week in the first half against Iowa. So Taylor again, a little sneaky pass up under to Gray. So Gray went long, then Gray goes short.
Think he likes throwing to him?
Now here's the fun guy this year. Over the middle, and that is Stackins, one of your offensive linemen in college going, Coach, let me catch a ball. Well, in this league, you get the opportunity.
We love a big man touchdown. This was Sharp's best play of the first half. Cross his body to his favorite target, Joshua Neal. Maybe ill-advised, but it worked out. And then Taylor to the former Memphis Tiger who played about, like we said, 200 yards from here. Kewan Malone, back played football in his hometown with the touchdown. And this, the most sensational of them all. 3 of them from Donald Gray in the first half, and that time climbing the ladder and winning the contested catch between 2 defenders.
And Sky Taylor got in on the action that time, the quarterback out of Lausanne and Lane College.
30-6. It's all Memphis here. The fans are having fun. And the debut for the Hound Dogs at the Memphis Sports and Event Center. Hound Dogs with a 24-point lead. More action for you in just a few moments. Back in Memphis, Hound Dogs with a 30-6 lead over Iowa in week 2 of the Arena League season. We have had plenty of jaw-dropping highlights so far. Let's take a look at some of the top plays of the early season. begin between the Hound Dogs and the Woo, with Memphis on top 30-6. Jeff Brightwell, it's never too early to start scoreboard watching, even in week 2. What do we got around the league?
There's only 8 games, so you don't have a lot of time. You don't want to get an 0-2 hole, but right now Nebraska looking pretty good near the end of the first half. On top against Monroe, 21-12. Hit a St. Joe's at home, leading 38-24 near the end of the half against Ozarks. And it's a 26-24 lead for Arkansas over Eau Claire. So if the games hold up, and look, there's a half to play in all of these ball games, Memphis potentially could get into a first-place tie in the South. Meanwhile, Nebraska and St. Joe's are looking really good to go to 2-0 up in that North Division. Again, there's only 8 games, so every game really is magnified in this league.
Bunch of close games so far around the league, except for right here in Memphis, where the Hound Dogs, in the home debut in their inaugural season in the Bluff City, dominated Iowa in the first half, 30-6, 5 touchdowns from Memphis. Next week, they will hit the road for their division opener against the Ozarks Lunkers. Memphis will play 4 whole games this season. Their next one will be 2 Fridays from now against a Monroe team that looked pretty good last week, but like you said, down right now to Nebraska, who the Hound Dogs lost to on the road last week.
Well, and that Ozarks team right now down 38-24. They're playing St. Joe's this week. So is Ozarks struggling, or is St. Joe's that good? But St. Joe's about to go to 2-0 if they can hang into a 14-point lead in the second half. But a big rebound here by Memphis. And again, now it is a 50-24. They've added 12 points. And look, I just got on the Arena League YouTube channel.
He was just on there.
So you're talking about putting up 2 touchdowns in about the last 2 minutes. So St. Joe's has opened that game up.
Well, Jeff, things can change really fast in this league, within a game, within a week. And we have to give some credit to Memphis, specifically new head coach Robert Redmond, who found out that he was being elevated from defensive coordinator to the big chair late in the week. But he talked about how he felt like this team had a better energy at practice this week, maybe a little bit more structure in practice, that on top of adding some new playmakers, and you could see the results wildly different compared to last Saturday night.
Well, what he wanted to implement this week was tempo, structure, and pace. You and I saw that a couple times this week at practice, whether it was walkthrough here or next door at the Kroc Center. They practiced at a couple of different events here, but they've done really well to kind of get into the rhythm tonight, Matt.
Iowa just getting back on the field as we get a look at the Offensive Player of the Week in the Arena League, Timmy McClain. We talked about that Monroe team last week, and, man, he put on a show against Iowa. 6 touchdowns, including a couple of bombs down the field.
Well, not only a spectacular performance last week by Timmy McClain in Monroe, our best wishes and glad to see him okay as Coach Bowden with the Greenheads. Look, coaches are on the field in the Arena League, so not just players. Coaches had to have their head on a swivel.
Yeah. Head coach Terry Bowden knocked down after a pick-6 and a return that was coming his way that he probably wasn't expecting, stretchered off, but good to see that he is okay. And, yes, these coaches, in a sense, are in harm's way, or at least they put themselves out there, because each team can have one coach on the field during the game. They must be 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but pick-6 or return, something you're not expecting, all of a sudden that could sneak up on you real quick.
Get a nice crowd here, and again, they're utilizing basically one side of the sports and event center in the grandstands. Permanent seating is about 2,800 in the grandstands. They've listed the capacity for the Hound Dogs at 3,500, but if this continues to grow, you can see in the background the basketball courts, there are auxiliary bleachers, and that is the hope. As this builds, you get a lot more 24-point leads at the half. The buzz is going to start, and you can bring in those auxiliary bleachers. But through first half, I think really nice job by James Fisher, the GM. And at this level, he's doing a lot of the legwork on his own here with a great group of interns to start this expansion team.
I want to give a lot of credit to James Fisher because, like you said, it's important to get off to a good start. We all know that. We know that if this team is good, the fans will come out week after week. And like you said, without the walls behind the end zones, it might look a little bit wonky, but, I mean, you could be right there when these players are scoring touchdowns.
I mean, maybe they're on to something because
is the rest of the league going to take note? Yeah.
Slides into the fans. They're all over them. And, again, Memphis waiting on their permanent field, so they leased out the field here, did a really nice job getting it installed. Looks great out here. But when they get their permanent field in and their permanent walls, they may say, hey, why don't we leave these things open if the league approves it?
So both teams on the field for the throw-off to begin the second half. It'll be Marqueria Johnson once again throwing it to Iowa. Third quarter underway from the Memphis Sports and Event Center. Fielded at about the 3-yard line by Odom. Spins off a man. Got a little bit of room, and he's tripped up at the 17-yard line before he could escape into the open field.
And I lost the helmet over there as well.
So Iowa trailing by 24, needing to get something going, and something going very fast. Again, running clock in this league, so it's not a traditional full 30 minutes in a normal football clock within your head. You got to go quick, and you got to string some possessions together.
Running clock, 20-second play clock. Only time you can huddle, like I was doing now, is out of a timeout or a switch of possession. So you're told, cannot huddle, just got to call out the plays. And look, 20 seconds, you don't have time to huddle anyway.
I believe this is Vernon Sharp, who was pulled at quarterback back there to start the second half. Very awkward exchange on the mesh, and maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage on the jet sweep. There's a gaggle of bodies over there. Cameron Blaylock makes the play. I believe the jet sweep went to Neal, and he maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 coming up.
I don't have a weight listed for Blaylock, but it's a lot, and he goes slamming into that wall.
A lot more than Neal, that's for sure. Vertical motion coming from the left side. Sharp drops back and finds his man caught. That is Neal spinning off a man. He's got room to run and dragged down along the wall after a big gain inside the Hound Dogs' 8-yard line. Adrian Fox back on the field. Good to see that after he limped off in the first half to make the tackle, but not before Neal.
Well, makes a nice spin to his right. That just shed Fox. Fox, a nice hustle to come back and make the tackle.
Wu got something cooking early in this third quarter. Sharp, throw it to the end zone, intercepted. Guess who? Ladarius Lee with his 4th in 2 weeks. Hound Dogs take over. There's a flag, couple players wrestling on the ground. So we'll see who they call there. But Ladarius Lee, a nose for the football, throws it into the stands. That fan's going to get to keep that ball, and a memorable experience at the inaugural Hound Dogs game. We'll check the flag. A Hound Dogs player and an Iowa player were wrestling each other, fighting each other, whatever you want to call it, on the ground on the return by Lee, who has now 4 interceptions in just over 6 quarters of play.
Well, it was Douglas Tucker for Iowa, waiting to see who it was on Memphis in the little scuffle.
3rd turnover of the night for Iowa. 2nd interception by Sharp. And pick your choice there. It could have been Lee or Jelani Willis. And 26 on Memphis. Couldn't quite tell who that was. Nonetheless, they take over on the Iowa side of the field, about the 23-yard line. Tripped up after a pickup of about 3 was Tony Bell.
Bell's done a nice job at running back. You don't see a ton of runs in the Arena League, but you need him. He broke one earlier. Good little game, but he's just a solid guy. Look, he's a college linebacker. Size and speed is good in that position if you're going to play running back in the Arena League.
Johnson in motion, 2nd and 9 coming up as Bell flanking KT Taylor, play quarterback to start this third quarter. Stays inside the running lanes and picks up about 5 yards to the 15-yard line to set up a 3rd and 5 for Memphis. So Taylor got the first quarter. Forrest got the second. Taylor back in there to start the third. He was tackled that time by Jaime Vicente Colon for Iowa.
Luxury they didn't have a week ago. Hound Dogs also running back early in the game last week. They only dressed out one, so they had none. Tonight, able to rotate.
Gray in motion. Taylor fakes the handoff, still has it, and has a man in his face right away. Somehow stays alive, throws across his body. That's the big fella. Stackins rumbling to the end zone. Touchdown, Memphis. What a play by KT Taylor. And Stackins has his 2nd of the night.
Who had Stackins down for 2 receiving touchdowns tonight? Nobody.
Could have made some money on that. What a play by Taylor to stay alive. He had a defender all up in his face. Looked like he was going to be sacked. Instead, stayed on his feet, found Stackins, who did the rest for the Hound Dogs touchdown, and they will try to convert on the PAT for the first time tonight, going for 2 from the 10-yard line.
Quarterback run eligible here.
Taylor, again, pressure in his face. Spins out of it again. Still alive. Flag is down, and pass is going to be caught by Hamilton. Couple flags on the play. We'll see what those are.
Be curious to see if they called a hold on the defender against Hamilton that got him spun around.
Well, I think there was another flag before the flag came down in the vicinity of where Hamilton
could have been offensive holding back
made
there.
the catch. And in that case, if they were offsetting penalties, they would replay the conversion.
Well, Memphis builds their team, and you don't see a lot of indoor football teams do it. They have a lot more sides than most indoor teams, which allows Taylor to find a Comonte Hamilton, find a Stackens. He's got some big guys out there that can make their own room.
I believe these are going to be 2 penalties on Iowa, a personal foul, face mask. So that'll move the ball to the 5-yard line. Which I believe will make Taylor now ineligible to run. So it's actually an interesting thought. Would you rather take it from the 5 or the 10, even with the penalty, because you eliminate the quarterback run? It's going to be a fun thing to figure out throughout the season. Taylor, pump fake, has to throw it. And that time he's going to be finally dragged down. He was Houdini a couple of times on that drive. But the Woo finally gang up and tackle him. So once again, Memphis 0-4 on the conversions tonight, but they're up by 30.
Well, you hear a few cheers from the crowd yelling run. They, unfamiliar with the rules of the Arena League, cannot run once you move it into the 1-point area.
KT Taylor, maybe the play of the night here for Memphis. And Stackens, maybe not quite how you would teach carrying the football, but it did not matter because the big man was rumbling to the end zone for his second score of the night.
Well, again, Memphis and Dustin Baumann, their offensive coordinators, you see Michael Stackens right there, they can flank Malik Williams, a center, with Hamilton and Stackens. Look, those aren't hard targets to find. If you're scrambling and looking, you're going to see a mass of Hound Dog blue to get the ball away to.
That mass beats 6'3", 285 pounds. Michael Stackens is at Memphis from 2004 to 2006. He's not new to this, but he's true to this. And his debut has 2 scores, and Johnson, for the second time tonight on the throw-off, hits it off a beam on the ceiling, and that'll be a penalty on Memphis, which should give Iowa the ball at the Hound Dogs 20-yard line.
Well, gentlemen in the stands, don't look for somebody. That ball's yours.
Take it home. Throw it around the kids, your friends, whatever. And they just threw it back on the field. You get to keep that, man.
I think they are going to return it to him and let him know. So you get midway through here the third quarter, and Memphis comfortably up 36-6. And it's going to be hard-pressed to find a team around the lead that made as big of a jump as Memphis did from week 1 to week 2.
Hound Dogs in it last week at Nebraska, only trailed 14-12 before getting blown out 38-6 in the second half on their way to a 52-18 loss. That is a long-forgotten memory at this point, though. Sharp dropped the snap and then just flings it towards the end zone, incomplete, as the issues continue for the Iowa operation.
Well,
good.
Whether it's Sharp or Bartz, Tucker has sent a lot of the snaps tonight high. Early on, it's high enough Sharp can catch it. We've seen a couple thrown over his head already. And right now, the big 6'5", 300-pounder out of Walsh U, and spend just a little bit of time at San Diego State as well, just snapping the ball high consistently tonight.
Sharp that time at least threw it incomplete. Remember, he had the interception earlier trying to make something out of nothing on a high snap. Under pressure once again. Rolls to his left. Sharp, hesitation move. Now turns it back upfield. Believe he was in the running lane. He was. And actually, that time, makes chicken salad out of nothing and picks up about 5.
Well, he's going to have to utilize his feet as much as he can. He got the initial pressure from Friesen out of Booker T. Washington and has played in the developmental football league. Got 21 sacks, set a league record in that league.
So 3rd and 5 coming up, and you imagine the Woo are going for it no matter what the rest of the way. Over the middle, almost, and it was intercepted. Off the deflection, and guess who? A hat trick of picks for Ladarius Lee. 5 already for number 5. Hound Dogs with their 4th takeaway of the night.
Gotta be your Arena League Defensive Player of the Week. 3 picks in this game, had a couple last week, but 5 now in 7 quarters and quickly becoming a fan favorite here in Memphis.
Is there a magnet for footballs in that helmet or his pads? That one, credit him for sticking with it because that just landed right where he was standing. At first I thought it was going to fall incomplete, but the ball took such a carom off the receiver's helmet.
Well, Victor Mann upset here talking to the officials as you see the ball go up, and there goes the interception by Lee. Because there was, I believe, an initial whistle, Matt. I don't think they saw Lee, so they thought dead ball, it's going to fall, and then Lee comes up. So I'm sure Victor Mann's saying you blew it, the play's dead, but an interception's an interception. It looks like the Hound Dogs are going to get it, and now comes the big
Michael Stackens with 2 touchdowns on the night, getting the whole crowd fired up here. And there is at least a meeting at the 10-yard line between the officials. Because I think you're right. I think I did hear a whistle about a half second before Lee caught the ball.
The thing is, where Lee was when he caught that interception, there were no other players near it. So that whistle did not affect the interception.
Oh, the Hound Dogs defense looks like they're coming back on the field. So
the initial whistle is going to stand. It's just going to be a dead ball, unfortunately, it looks like.
So Victor Mann does win the argument. So take an interception off the board for Ladarius Lee. Only four in the second game of the season.
About another 20 minutes, maybe he'll pick up that 3rd.
He has a nose for the football, that's for sure. And this is a Hound Dogs defensive backfield that's playing without a couple of key contributors as well. Greg Rubin, who played at the University of Memphis, out with an injury right now. They hope to get him back soon. Rod Farmer, who was really good for them last week, out with a hand injury. They hope to also get him back at some point this season. So Ladarius Lee and others, Adrian Fox come to mind, picking up the slack for that Hound Dogs defense.
Well, Rubin originally out of White Station High School, went to Memphis, became a star there. And I think they were hoping Rubin's going to play. He's going to be the face of this team. There's your big publicity guy. And he may be. You just got to get him healthy over the next 6 games.
Him and Cormonte Hamilton, a couple of former Memphis Tigers that played for the U of M recently. So the Woo get a break here. Sharp throwing near the sideline. Nice catch that time made by Kyvon Smith, the Kansas City native. And he's got a first down for Iowa at the 11-yard line.
And a former Nashville Cat, Topeka Tropic. He was active last week in that game.
Vertical motion coming from the slot on the right side. Towards the end zone and through the hands of both Joshua Neal and Jelani Wills, who almost had his first interception of the night.
Oh, hit him right in the top of the number 3. Had it right on the Hound Dog logo. Just would not stick. I think he was a little bit more surprised it ended up into his hands at that point.
The official talking with someone on the officiating crew behind the end zone. I'll give Iowa a chance to huddle up because of the whistle and the dead ball.
I think they may have a clock issue in the corner. They're pointing down somewhere else. But a stoppage in play right now. So Memphis comes out. They get some stops. They've already gotten 1 second half interception by Friesen. Interception strip regardless, knocked out, and it ended up in his hands. Memphis nearly had the second by Lee. So the defense has been huge. Look, they got the 3 first half turnovers forced against Nebraska, but that sequence early in the second half where it went touchdown, safety, because all the intricacies in the rules, Memphis just let the ball go and ran backwards and got the safety. Then that second touchdown, that blew the game over there, and that's really when the confusion and the frustration sat in a week ago against the very good, as we see now, Nebraska Siege team.
And also head coach Robert Rebin, like we talked about earlier, he said they might have been the heaviest team in terms of personnel in the history of the Arena League last week, playing big guys and tight ends. We've seen, obviously, what the speed factor has done this week, getting guys like Donald Gray, Keywan Malone in the mix. But that also contributed to Memphis was just gassed in the second half last week. And I think you could tell that. So conditioning, a big focus for the Hound Dogs this week. And you give yourself a lot more wiggle room with your conditioning in the second half when you're up by 30 in the third quarter.
Well, I think the situation now is fans are very integral part of the arena game, despite what league. But you got to remember, stay on your side of the wall and keep it within the limits. And I think they're just going to take someone out.
That referee's got a young man singled out that clearly was being disrespectful to him in some form or fashion. We're not sure what was said, but I think he is going to get the boot out of here, and we can hopefully get this game back underway in a couple of moments.
Good news is Hound Dogs back in 2 weeks, so he can come back to the next game.
2 Fridays from now under Friday Night Lights inside the Memphis Sports and Event Center. We will have 2 Friday games at home for the Hound Dogs this year. The other will be a Saturday night. And this Saturday night certainly going Memphis' way. They've scored 6 touchdowns, 4 touchdown passes by KT Taylor, 2 by Sky Forrest, 3 receiving touchdowns for Donald Gray, 2 for the big fellow Michael Stackage, 1 for Keywan Malone. So the unruly fan evidently has been booted out of here, and we can resume play. Wu get the ball, 2nd and goal from the 10. On the jet sweep, it's going to be kept that time by Sharp. I believe, I don't know if he got back to the line of scrimmage, but I think he was outside the running lane either way.
Well, Hazard grabbed him and threw him to the ground. Well, look, not to beat a dead horse, but if you're not going to be able to make it to the game, that crew, get on the Arena League YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
You can watch all of our games.
Jeff and I will have to call for all 4 Memphis home games this year. Been a fun night for the home squad so far. On 3rd down, Sharp escapes. Runs around another man now looking to the end zone. Almost intercepted once again. And that was Adrian Fox who had his hands on that one. And almost another INT for this Hound Dogs defense.
The second of the last 6 plays he's had. He's had one in his hands, one in his numbers. Scrambling, just got away from Fries in that time. He's flushed out, stays just behind the line of scrimmage. There's actually a tip about 3 yards away from where he threw the ball that kind of got it sent sideways. That Sharp had his man, but the tip pass just deflected everything.
4th and goal, Iowa, of course, going for it. Sharp up the middle, outside the running lanes. He was down at the 1-yard line. Jadarius Mister, the Overton High School alum, makes the tackle, and now the flags come down because Sharp was pretty clearly outside of the hashes, which you have to stay at until you cross the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Mister took his legs out from under him, so he was in the air. You can still glide along the wall, though.
I think he was short. So now the question is, I guess if you're Memphis, it was 4th down. Do you just take the ball at the 1-yard line, or do you back Iowa up 5 yards and try to get better field position?
Well, your defense has played pretty well tonight. You've only given up 6 points in an indoor football game. That's pretty stout.
I think the answer is Memphis will take the turnover on downs and start this drive at their own 1-yard line, up 36-6 in the third quarter.
Now, Dustin Bauman is already on the field, the offensive coordinator, so they already had their decision made.
KT Taylor back there, flanked by the running back, Tony Bell. 2 receivers in motion. Taylor at the pitch. And a little bit of running room by Bell that time, maybe gained a yard. And Memphis will take all the breathing space they could get. 2nd and 9 coming up.
Emmanuel Prather laid a really nice hit, and Prather plays a lot of offense. But again, most players, they may specialize on one side of the ball, but everyone's eventually going to play both ways, maybe except the quarterback, but we have seen Barts on both sides.
Malone, the receiver, to the right. Don't see Donald Gray out there right now. And here comes the blitz. Pop pass. Caught by guess who? One of the men of the night, Michael Stackett. And a flag comes down at the end of that play.
Stackens a little something to say after he was brought down as well, but they're targeting Stackens tonight. He's had the 2 touchdowns. That's his 3rd reception of the evening. They've looked at him 4 times in this game so far tonight. And I think a lot of people after last week and coming into the season were going to isolate on Karante Hamilton. It's left Stackens available.
And a personal foul against Iowa is going to give Memphis 15 more yards and a first down. So just like that, backed up at their own 1-yard line. The 10th penalty of the night for the Woo puts Memphis in great field position once again.
And again, they did a pretty good job a week ago. 6 penalties, but 10 already, and you still have a little bit over a quarter remaining.
The low to the right, Johnson to the left. Snap goes to Taylor, and I believe there was movement by the Hound Dogs, and there was. And they'll back up 5 yards after being gifted 15 on the penalty by Iowa.
Hound Dogs pretty disciplined as far as penalties tonight. They had 6 for 30 yards a week ago at Nebraska.
Final 30 seconds of this 3rd quarter. Memphis has stretched out their lead here in the second half, up 36-6 in their inaugural home game here at the Memphis Sports and Event Center. I believe they'll have to get one more playoff before the end of the 3rd quarter. Johnson on the left, Malone on the right.
In the quarter.
And that will be the end of the 3rd quarter. At the party here in Memphis tonight as the Hound Dogs dominated the Iowa Woo 36-6. 4th quarter on the way. My partner Jeff Brightwell will have the play-by-play for the final frame here in the Bluff City when we come back.
Well, it's been all Hound Dogs tonight here, 36-6 as we get to the 4th quarter. I'm Jeff Private alongside Matt Infield, and it's going to be the Hound Dogs on offense. So they started out big, jumping out to an 18-0 lead before Iowa would get their only touchdown, and Memphis took back over and has run out a string now. So it'll be Kevin Taylor staying in. He's got Bell, and that ball loose on the ground. I don't know if that was going to be a design play, but a missed snap, loose on the ground, and a turnover is going to give it to Iowa.
Well, on a night where basically everything has gone right for Memphis, that will be one that they'll look at and film and make sure they get cleaned up, because that's just sloppy and much more akin to the way they played last week. So the Woo will get a chance to put a dent in the scoreboard right away to start the 4th quarter.
Hard to tell if they were wanting to work a direct snap to Bell or if there was miscommunication between Bell and Taylor at the time of snap. But that ball was down immediately, and Iowa all over it, and they've got a chance here. Look, 36-6. You can score a lot of points in the arena game, but Iowa right now, they need to find some momentum before getting into week 3.
Well, yeah, and I don't think that if you've watched them tonight, you have much confidence that they can put up a ton of points quickly. I mean, Vernon Sharp is trying to extend plays, but he's been under duress. This Memphis defensive front has done a phenomenal job applying pressure tonight.
So there goes Neal in motion vertically. Sharp over the middle and a pick. Hound Dogs have it to the 20-yard line, and it's Jelani Willis. He had 2 in and out of his hands. Third time's a charm.
You know he was ruining that one in the end zone that, like you said, he had his first interception of the night until he did it. Gets it that time. And just when you think Iowa has a little bit of momentum, maybe not to totally get back in the game, they give it right back. Credit the deflection that time by one of the Memphis defensive linemen. Couldn't quite see who it was there.
May have been Blaylock. Now Sharp 0 for his last 5, couple of picks.
He's definitely tried to make too much happen. He's also been under a lot of pressure like we were talking about. Just kind of a disaster of circumstances all the way around.
Similar to what we saw of Kevin Taylor a week ago in Nebraska.
Absolutely. It's Forrest back at the game for Memphis now.
Forrest with the handoff up the middle, and Memphis right now going to keep this thing moving. Of course, the clock runs, so you're going to keep it moving regardless until you get under the 2-minute warning. But they're going to try the ground and pound game. Interesting thing, we talked to Dustin Baumann and the head coach Robert Redmond. Can you run a power game in the indoor game? That's what they tried to do last week, and they figured out.
Not to that extent.
Yeah, not 60 minutes, but they still want to run some sort of a power game, so they may work on it here in the fourth quarter.
Definitely not to the extent they did last week, and we see what the Speedo, nice cut that time.
Out to the 20-yard line, and again, they look to Bell. He'll get just back to the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Just want to point out, Donald Gray has not been on the field since at some point in the third quarter. He's got his helmet on, and like we were talking about off camera, protect that asset as much as possible. I don't think there's anything to worry about. Just wanted to point that out if you're watching at home and wondering why the guy with 3 touchdowns tonight isn't out there.
Forrest taken down, just took too much time looking over to his right, and looked like that was Vincent Colon with the sack.
You know, I'll credit Forrest, though. He's taking sacks. He hasn't forced the ball into dangerous situations, unlike what we've seen on the Iowa side for Vernon Sharp and a couple of those disastrous turnovers that have really flipped the game in Memphis' favor.
So it'll be 4th and 12 here. It looks like Memphis will go for it. They do not want to surrender. Look, it's a chance for you to get reps for Sky Forrest as well.
Yeah, and I think that these reps in this situation, this is kind of that middle ground of where you go for it or do you surrender. You're going to have to go for it at some point this season.
Forrest over the top, and the Hound Dogs score again as he glides across the hardwood through the blue suede end zone, and Memphis expands the lead, and it's Keywan Malone again.
Jeff, that is the best throw we've seen tonight. That was a dime from Sky Forrest in a gotta-have-it situation. And Malone, back in Memphis, back playing football in the 901, delivers a souvenir to the fans. Sky Forrest, put that one on your reel, your resume, whatever, because that was as perfect as it gets.
So now Forrest. And there goes the flag. Into the back of the end zone. Did he keep his toe in? Yes, that's McCarrion Johnson. We'll see what the flag's about at the 5, though. He may have broken the plane on vertical motion before the snap.
I think it by a half step is what I think the call is going to be. That was another beautiful throw, too, by the way.
Well,
it's on the defense.
Decline, and the Hound Dogs had their first PAT of the season.
7 touchdowns tonight. You were going to be happy about that no matter what, but you know this coaching staff, it was going to gnaw at them a little bit if they didn't convert once on the point after, and they finally get it. This throw maybe not quite as good as the touchdown to Malone, but this is the touchdown to Malone. Sky Forrest is balling right now, Jeff.
6 for 8, 75 yards, a pair of touchdowns. Look, you got a couple of quarterbacks like Memphis is showing tonight in Kevin Taylor and Sky Forrest. That's going to make Robert Redmond and offensive coordinator Dustin Baumann pretty happy. They're already going to be happy, the staff, with the jump from week 1 to week 2. A little bit of change in the personnel on the field. They've dipped their toe in the Arena League waters. You can tell they're a little bit more adapted to the speed. And some of the athletes they brought in, no disrespect to anyone last week, we talked about the fitness level, and the fatigue really showed up. It looked like a tired Hound Dog crew in the second half last week.
Well, it's not really disrespect. I mean, this is a game that is built on speed and explosive plays. And when Memphis was essentially playing what you consider almost like 13 personnel last week, where it's just all tight ends and a running back. That's not going to work in this league every single play. Now you see mixed in Gray, Malone, Johnson. Johnson, remember, who just caught the point after. He had 2 touchdowns last week. I mean, that's a dangerous weapon in of himself, and he might be either wide receiver 3 now. So, yeah, this coaching staff has to be feeling night and day different from last week.
Well, Memphis will be back on the road, and next week, too, for all teams in the Arena League, we're going to be beginning to get in divisional play. It'll be divisional play the rest of the way out. It looks like they're going back to take a look at this. I'm not sure. I don't see the challenge flag, but they're making sure McCarrion Johnson got his toe in the back of that end zone.
And he did. He might have got 2 feet down. That's good in the NFL, baby. We said college rules. You see 1 foot down. That's 2. You're good in the NFL, too.
And again, as it happens with expansion teams, Memphis, this is their temporary field. That's why you don't have the walls behind the end zones, but their regular field will get in. And look, again, we talked about James Fisher and his staff of interns put this field together about 30 hours ago. And I was out here.
Jeff Wright, I was going to say, take a little bit of credit because you're part of the broadcasting crew, but you were out here doing the heavy lifting too.
It's not the weight of the rolls. It's the rubber bottom on hardwood where they won't move. Here it's Odom. Odom, that seam closed up quick out to the 10-yard line, and that's where the Iowa Woo will take over. He's brought down by Jelani Willis.
I mean, Jeff, we talked about it. Obviously, last week did not go the way this team wanted to for a lot of different reasons, but you're a lifelong Memphian. I've been here 4 years now. This city will support a team if they're winning and they put on a good show. And tonight, they are checking both of those boxes in their debut, importantly, in a big way.
Well, they've checked all the boxes, as you mentioned tonight. Not only a good result, had a great crowd tonight. Fans with the end zones were able to get it right up on the field. We've seen a couple of receivers slide right into the fans and get the ball tonight. The Arena League, affordable product for your families. It's got everything you want. Yep. And you're only asking those fans to come out for the 4 home games plus the playoffs if you make it there. All right, we'll see Iowa as they'll have 40 yards to go here. Little room. Sharp rolls to his left, out to his tight end, just across the 10-yard line to the 12.
But Darius Lee, not only the interception master of this league, delivered the big hit there.
So they may have found Daniel Walker that time. Walker out of Miami, Florida, very explosive player, but not had a lot of touches tonight.
Jeff, Memphis undoubtedly had a not-so-fun bus ride back about 12 hours from Nebraska to Memphis after last Saturday night. I don't know how far it is from here to Waterloo, Iowa, but the Woo are going to experience that shortly.
Smith deep, and Kyvon Smith has it in the end zone. Beautiful pass by Sharp. Smith was the vertical man in motion. He read him all the way for the touchdown for the Woo.
Oh, that'll make the bus ride back a little more fun. At least you could hang your head on that highlight. I mean, an absolute rocket of a throw from Sharp, and Smith in motion at the snap vertically just smoked the Hound Dogs defensive backfield there.
So again, Iowa looking to get a little momentum. They're going to host St. Joe next week, and St. Joe's was doing pretty well. They were blowing out Ozarks near the end of the first half earlier tonight. And that's going to be a tough draw to try to pick up your first win. They'll go for the 2-point extra point here, which again makes Vernon Sharp eligible to run, but still has to stay between the hashes before he crosses the line of scrimmage. Sharp has some room. It's deflected up top. And so that pass never made it through. And again, Memphis getting a lot of pressure. And now there's some jawing going on in the end zone. So you see Blaylock hold the line there. And there's Kyvon just waiting on that one. Look, that's a speedy guy. And when Smith, again, we talked about He's had the experience with the Cats in the Tropics, originally at Independence, Missouri. Got going. They just read it down the seam.
We've seen a couple of that in the fourth quarter, a couple of dimes. We saw a couple from Sky Forest on the touchdown to Malone, on the conversion on the point after to Johnson, and that one, probably about 50, maybe 55 yards in the air, something like that. All the money.
A 44-12 lead. And so Memphis to receive. That's DJ Briggs back there, the deep man for Memphis. Little wobble on it, but he handles it at the 8, comes out. Stutter step, he's tripped up at the 16-yard line. So really nice open field tackle there, trying to make just that extra move.
Jeff, we should bring up, too, for fans that are maybe watching this league for the first time, Iowa didn't try it there, but if you are down in the second half, you can do an onside attempt, which is a 4th and 20 from your own 5-yard line. So that's an idea that's been floated in the NFL in recent years. The Arena League is actually doing it. Didn't see it there from Iowa down big in the fourth quarter. I imagine we will at some point, not too far down the road.
Stephon Chapman with the tackle that time. So the Hound Dogs back on offense here. Chance for Forrest to get some more snaps after that brilliant touchdown to Malone. And over the middle, he's got Briggs. Briggs is going to have the first down by a yard.
That ball, I think.
Now, Memphis,
now we don't need this, especially if you're Memphis. You're up by 32. Don't let them do anything stupid to get yourself ejected from this game, maybe suspended for the road game next week.
Got a feeling you'll see a couple offsetting personal fouls here. Memphis, look, got in that scuffle in the first quarter at Nebraska last week and had an ejection.
Yeah, that was Fox for Memphis, who's been out here tonight, so not suspended for this game. Probably lucky that happened the first half of that game.
First personal foul on Iowa, and as we suspected, offsetting.
Smart man, Jeff Brightwell.
That is not a hard one to see. See exactly what got this started.
I see Briggs make the catch. And got driven into the ground there, which, physical play, and then.
They didn't like it, but I think that's a clean tackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man in motion. Now Forrest looks back.
Oh.
And throws the pick. And that should be 6 for Iowa, and it is. Well, he just floated up there, and they read his eyes, and he takes it all the way, 25-plus yards. And Iowa gets the defensive touchdown late in this ball game.
I think that was a case of not being on the same page. Couldn't tell who the receiver was. They went vertical. Forrest thought they were going to stop, maybe run a curl or something towards the middle of the field. He did not. And waiting on that.
May have been Willie Miles. We'll double check. All right, let's take a look here as Forrest. I think Forrest just obviously lost track. He kept his eye on one receiver, and they read it easily.
Well, that's what we were talking about before, how you could run the clock either way, running or passing this league because of the running clock. When you throw, though, obviously you put yourself at risk for plays like that. I go for 2 from the 10.
Flag goes up.
A couple of them.
To the corner, tipped away. That would have been out of bounds regardless, but did have a flag early on.
That's all Memphis. So, again, this is going to be interesting. Do they take it at the 5, which eliminates the quarterback run? There's part of me that says I would rather take it from the 10, go for 2, and keep that option in play.
Right. When you're still down 44-18, you're looking at about 2 to 3 minutes left in this game. You're not going to make up that many points, but stuff you got to get some momentum again for next week if you're Iowa. Rolling to the left. Quick pass in and out of the hands in the corner. Vernon Sharp. There's that pick.
It was Cormonte Hamilton that was running vertical, and Forrest did not expect that.
That may have been a Mod Butler at a second look on that one. Butler out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and Liberty Prep originally. 2-minute warning here in Memphis has the Hound Dogs up comfortably over the Iowa Woo. We'll have the last two when we come back to the Memphis Sports and Events Center in just a moment. Well, it's nothing like coming to an Arena League game, and he's got one of the new Hound Dogs footballs. They just got him this week. All those Pizza, one of the partners of the Hound Dogs, the game ball sponsor, and a really nice-looking football here for the fans that they get to keep one.
Jeff, I think we're getting what we talked about, that 4th and 20 onside attempt from Iowa here.
They get one crack at it. Out to the left. Got to get rid of it. Oh, and just over the fingertips. They had it drawn up well, but just a little bit overthrown that time. But they had the play right where they wanted it.
That is another very impressive display of arm strength by Vernon Sharp there, rolling to your left and unleashing that ball. That was probably a half step too far for his intended receiver, but he could fling that thing, no doubt about it.
And now Memphis up 44-18, can put the cherry on top. Meanwhile, around the league, it looks like St. Joe's 57-32, leading Ozarks at this point. Third quarter score was Eau Claire leading Arkansas 30-26. That game's still very much in doubt. Nebraska on top of Monroe in the fourth, 30-18. So that's what's going on around the league tonight.
I think it would be really interesting to see Memphis and Nebraska play again with some of these new weapons that Memphis has displayed tonight.
Low snap, got to stay between the hatches. He was trying to get there. Little shuffle step by Sky Force to his left, trying to get back between them, but did all he could do with a low snap there. And Malik Williams done a really nice job at center tonight. He came in 6'3", 325, originally out of Cleveland, Ohio, Lane College. Look, when you look at Malik Williams, though, without that uniform, he doesn't carry 325 like a normal person does. He is a lean, I know it's odd to say lean 325, but moves very well.
Oh, no, not all 325 is created equal. There's no doubt about that. It's also interesting the Cleveland connection, too, on a team that is mainly players from Memphis and the general area.
Forrest in and out of the hands of Malone. Again, you got tied up with McCarry and Johnson. It was there for two Hound Dogs. Malone stuck his hands out, and I think McCarry thought that pass was coming to him as well.
Malone going for what would have been his third touchdown of the night. Johnson going for what would be his first of the night, third of the year after he scored two last week.
We're going second and goal. Forrest looking for Stackins into the blue suede end zone, and another Hound Dog touchdown makes it 50-18.
Stackins with the hat trick, and he bodied Jaime Vicente Colon and let him know about it as he crossed the plate as well. That is getting the crowd here in Memphis fired up. Jeff, Michael Stackins hasn't played college football for 20 years. He's still got something to tag, that's for sure.
Well, what do they always ask guys when they come back to alumni events or Hall of Fame banquets? They ask them, I've always heard you got one good hit left in your one good catch. And obviously Stackins, he didn't get any catches when he played college ball. And maybe he said, I got a lot of catches in me that I didn't get to have at Memphis, so let's get him for the Hound Dogs.
Go for one here.
Through the middle, and someone may have held Johnson that time. That's who he was looking for over the middle.
It was a two-hand push.
Yeah. Gets a little bunched up in there.
So now the ball, it'll be the first time we've seen this tonight. They moved the ball to call it the 2.5 yard line. Half the distance to the goal.
So we'll see him move two to the right side. In motion is Johnson to the left. Forrest, Johnson goes down. Forrest looking, floats it to the corner. He had it Briggs, closest receiver, but really no chance. Covered tightly over there, and the corner looked like by Butler again.
A couple of fans hit the deck. Talk about the intimate, up-close experience. They're all good. It looked like a mother and her daughter. They got right back up. They're all good. As Jeff, a Memphis favorite victory song, usually plays at FedEx Forum for the Memphis Grizzlies, is blurry out here at the Memphis Sports and Event Center tonight. A fitting end to a dominant performance by the Hound Dogs and a great first impression in front of the home fans. And yeah, Stackins had something to say as he crossed that goal line. Some iteration of get off me.
Yeah. That's not much of a chance when you're turning around and there's Stackins and you're trying to play him off the goal line, but having some fun there. And again, a nice turnout here tonight in the Memphis Sports and Event Center. And they've had a lot of events here, volleyball, basketball, first football, and the first time they've had a permanent team here at the still relatively new Memphis Sports and Event Center.
Opened late 2022, phenomenal facility. They have Nike EYBL here, tournaments all year round basically. That's a great tackle that time by, look at that. Donald Gray, 3 touchdowns on the night, making plays on special teams as well, as there's some more chirping. Iowa, I imagine, not all too happy with how the results tonight have gone, for good reason. But at this point, with less than a minute left, finish this thing out and go your separate ways and maybe meet back up later in the season in a game with higher stakes.
Well, Monroe is losing by more than double digits to Nebraska. Memphis winning tonight, and checking real quick on that Ozarks score at the last check, Ozarks was getting hammered. Memphis going to move into first place tie in the South.
With division play starting next week on the road at Ozarks as 64-32 St. Joe's on top of the Ozarks.
St. Joe's scores quickly, we've learned here tonight. Up the middle. Stayed between the hatches, veers out to the right side. Big first down across the midfield. It is going to be a little too late as it sits at 50-18. Hound Dogs in control since midway through the second quarter of this game. Again, held a 30-6 lead at the half tonight. So Sharp waiting for his man in motion, vertical. Going to go to the right corner. And nearly another pickoff in the corner. That time for Memphis is Lee again. Lee just has a knack for the football.
I would say, without watching every snap of this league so far, Ladarius Lee has to be the odds-on favorite to lead the Arena League in interceptions this year. He's off to a good start with 4 already.
And would have had a 5th, but it was taken away off of an inadvertent whistle that blew the play dead before he caught a wide-open interception. And now the scouting report's obviously going to be against Memphis. Stay away from Lee.
Like we talked about, they still have not had Greg Rubin yet, who played at the University of Memphis, who is going to be a huge contributor on the defensive backfield.
Sharp in big trouble, gets the ball away, and that was a no man's land. A lot of pressure again from that Memphis front. And it looks like that may do it here as the Hound Dogs will win in their home debut. Final of 50-18. And if the other scores play out, Memphis, after 2 games, will move into a 3-way tie for first in the South at 1-1. Again, Memphis 50-18. Matt and I wrap things up when we come back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Memphis Sports and Event Center, where the Hound Dogs winners big tonight by a final of 50-18. I'm Jeff Bridle alongside Matt Infield. Numbers don't pop out of you tonight because a lot of short fields. Taylor 9 of 11, 64 yards, 4 TDs, Force 8 of 12, 91 yards, 3 touchdowns tonight. But again, Memphis defense created short fields for the offense.
7 touchdowns definitely pops out for you, though, and so does 5 takeaways by the Hound Dogs defense. 2 players with hat tricks for receiving touchdowns. You got the speedy guy, Donald Gray, who is going to be a force in this league pretty clearly. And Michael Stackett, the big fella, has put the rest of the Arena League on notice after tonight.
Quickly, 5 turnovers for the Hound Dog defense tonight. Friesen with a pick, Willis with a pick. Force fumble recovery by Hassler, his 2nd of the season. And then 2 picks by Lee, 3. Could have had 4 if 1 didn't get called back.
Really just a perfect night all the way around. The home debut for the Hound Dogs in their inaugural season. They made a great first impression. I think the fans here tonight had a great time, and it was a great show in their first time out here at the Memphis Sports and Event Center.
That's going to wrap things up from Memphis. So Iowa falls to 0-2. They'll host St. Joe next Saturday. Memphis now 1-1 and could very well be in a tie for first in the division if the other games continue to play out like they are. They will be at the Ozarks next week as division play begins. For everyone involved of our production crew at 85 Creative, also my broadcast partner Matt Infield, I'm Jeff Bridle. Thanks for joining us tonight. You've been watching the Arena League.